Good afternoon, Izabela Vidovic. Welcome on VH Berries.
Thank you so much.
I am very grateful. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic because I really like your movies, and I think that we can explain the phenomenon around the Accursed, your latest release, through the 6 fortune cookies papers at the back of your phone.
Oh, that's right. I'm impressed that you noticed that. The fortune cookie papers.
They are strategically positioned in the transparent phone case.
They are in my transparent phone case, but admittedly, they're not strategically placed at all. I just kind of have them scattered about because when I take my phone case off, sometimes to clean my phone, they fall out. And so there's no strategy to it.
And Izabela Vidovic, the number 6, is also, I assume, a very important number for you because over the course of the last 11 months, you have released 6 original songs.
Oh, wow. I didn't even notice that. That's funny because 7 is actually my favorite number. But I didn't even notice the recurring 6. I didn't release my songs officially just yet. I've just kind of given sneak peeks on YouTube and on my Instagram, but I am excited to start releasing music officially this year.
Absolutely, because I saw that, as you just mentioned, those videos were very short, around a minute, and I was thinking about the fact that you could already release an EP.
Yeah, I would love to. That's definitely in the plan. And I have more songs that I haven't shared, but I've just been excited to kind of give little snippets out to the people. And everybody seems to be liking it. So that's been really fun.
It is very fun, Izabela Vidovic, because this is definitely a new chapter of your life and journey. Because in reality, at the very beginning, everything started during an Easter egg and a party with your singing skills.
It did. That's a fun story that I like to tell. And now we're just right around the corner from Easter, actually. It's like a week away, which is funny. But yeah, everything kind of started when I was 6, 7 years old, and I was at an Easter party, an Easter egg hunt with my family. And I was just really precocious and energetic as a kid. So I was performing some song. I don't remember. I got up on a table and I was singing and I pretended like I had a microphone. And somebody who became a really good friend of ours and a really important figure in my life, he went up to my mom and he asked her if I would be interested in auditioning for an acting agency. And my mom, being in the industry herself already, was a little weary because she didn't know if she wanted to, place me in the industry as a child actress. But I did end up doing the audition and I loved it. And thankfully I got in with the agent, and the rest is kind of history. I guess acting just happened from there, which I got really lucky.
The rest is history. And do you think, Izabela, that during all of this year acting, you forgot it to sing?
No, I never. I think I sing all the time. My friends and my family are a little a little annoyed by it because I'm always singing. So no, I never forgot how to sing. I just didn't really publicly showcase it, I guess.
In definitive, we can say that singing is for forever, which is also one of your original titles.
Yes, it is. Thank you. Yeah, I like that. It is for forever.
I would love to discuss about your production company that is called Almost Normal. This is the one that produced the Accursed.
Yes, Almost Normal Productions is a production company that I am a producer with. My mom, actually, Izabela, she founded the company 12 years ago in 2010 with her creative partner, Catherine Michelle. And I've always been involved with the company in some capacity just because I've been acting my whole life and I've always been interested in the behind the camera. And so when I was 12, I wrote a short film that the company produced and my mom and Catherine obviously were a part of. And then, yeah, since then my involvement just increased and it became more solidified in 2017. So 5 years ago, when I was 16, I decided that I wanted to hop on as a producer full time. And that was when we were doing an Indiegogo campaign for The Accursed, which you just mentioned. And that's sort of how the whole process started. So we did the Indiegogo campaign, and then 2 years later, we went into production and we filmed it. And then 2 years later, we put it out, which was just in November, a few months ago.
So this very special production structure is called Almost Normal Production that we can also name ANP. What is the meaning behind this very special name?
Almost Normal. It's kind of as straightforward as it sounds. Well, I guess it doesn't really sound straightforward. I think that all of, like, the three of us are almost normal, like every project that we put out. We place these really badass female characters in these really crazy circumstances. So these somewhat seemingly normal women are living these really almost normal lives, these kind of extraordinary circumstances that we place them in. So I think it has to do with the our scripts and the kind of projects that we put out, as well as us as creatives. We're just kind of whacked out.
And Izabela Vidovic, I also went to find the precise meaning of the word normal. And it's also said that normal means conforming to a standard. And by adding the word almost, is it as if it was not conforming to the norm?
I would say, yeah, absolutely. I think that, I think that's what's exciting about creativity, is that you almost never are conforming to the norm. Creativity is innovation. So you're always doing something new, something that is either hasn't been done before or that you're putting your own twist on. And I think that's what's intriguing, whether you're acting or singing or writing or directing, you're trying to be original. And, that is in and of itself stepping outside of the norm.
And this movie, The Accursed, is stepping out of the norm because it tells the story of a horrific story around a family. I saw the movie and there is some great special effects, for example, with a very special plant that is very vicious.
Yes, the Firethorn. That's my favorite special effect. Yeah, The Accursed. The Accursed is a fun one. It's a horror film. It's a horror supernatural thriller type film. And it's about a woman named Hannah who spends 20 years suppressing this deadly curse that was placed on her bloodline, only to have it get released knowingly. So it's got elements of what I like about The Accursed is that it has elements of folklore, this ambiguous type of folklore that Izabela and Catherine, they used a blend of Irish folklore and Eastern European folklore and Romani folklore and just all sorts of different cultures and blended it into something of their own, which we call Balvanian in the film. And I think that's what's really unique about the movie, is that these characters are speaking this language that you don't really know, but it might sound familiar if you speak a Slavic language. And that's interwoven into the big, the root of the story, which is the curse. And it sends everybody fending for their lives. So if you like horror movies, which I'm a huge lover of horror films, then we deliver, I think.
You deliver. And I assume that from going in front of the camera to behind the camera, all through the fact that you played the character of Sunny, what were the biggest lessons that you learned as a producer and co-director?
I did produce it. I didn't co-direct it. Izabela and Catherine are the Izabela Vidovic and Catherine Michelle, I'll say their full names, co-directed and co-wrote the project. And I did produce it and act in it, which was kind of a first for me because I've produced and acted in short films, but it's a little different because it's a short film, so it's a couple of days and there's a lot less work involved. Whereas with a feature, you've kind of got double the trouble. So I think that it just taught me how much really goes into making a film. I've acted in films throughout the last 10 years that I've been working, but I've never actually produced something from the ground up. So I think that was a huge learning experience for me. And as an actress, I think it really helps knowing what's involved from development to pre-production to production to post to marketing, because it is a small team and the three of us are really tight-knit. Everything is done in-house, and sometimes it can be stressful because you're wearing a lot of hats, but I think it's also an advantage because you get to learn how to do a little bit of everything.
We can totally sense this very enthusiastic environment because there is this sort of familial feeling when watching the movies, in addition of almost normal production being a family affair.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's, I think, what I love about working as a producer is that I'm working with people who I love, like in my real life, which obviously you would hope for that in any close work relationship that you get along with the people that you're with. But when it's your mom and Catherine, who I call my aunt because I grew up with her since birth. She was at my baby shower. So, it's literally working with family, and that just brings a whole other special kind of dynamic to our workplace, which I really enjoy. I'm really thankful for, because not everybody gets along well enough to do that. So I pride myself in that. We all do.
And Izabela Vidovic, another dynamic that I have noticed is the link between two characters that you have played because of their confidence. I am talking about the link between Sunny and Via Pullman. Oh,
really? That's cool that you saw a link. Via and Sunny are... Well, I guess maybe I think that's a big compliment because I there's a part of Via and there's a part of Sunny in me. So I always try to bring as much of myself as I can to the roles that I play, just because then I find it easier to relate to the character. Via and Sunny are both strong women, and I am thankful that I've gotten to play a lot of really strong female characters already. And that's what we strive for with AMP. So is writing strong, badass female characters.
This character that I mentioned called Via Pullman was in a movie and a book called Wonder that I have just with me right now. I have the book right now, which is the French version of it. It was one of the headlines of the year 2017. Can you tell us about these very special experiences?
Yeah, Wonder was a very, very special experience. I auditioned for Wonder when I was want to get this right, at the end of my freshman year of high school. I was 15. Yeah. Sorry, I'm working this out in my head. I was 15 when I auditioned for Wonder, and I was my sister at the time was actually reading the book. I believe that's the right timeline. This was a second ago, so I'm like, am I saying this correctly? My sister was reading the book in her class, in her 5th grade class. So that was really cool. And of course, I'd heard of it and I read it as I was auditioning for it. And then what I was really excited about was that Stephen Chbosky was directing the film, because he wrote my favorite book, which is Perks of Being a Wallflower. So I knew that if I was lucky enough to get a director's session, which is a few steps into the auditioning process, you will often go in and read for the director if they really like you for the role. And I thought if I was lucky enough to get a director's session with Stephen, that I would have to tell him that he wrote my favorite book ever. And I did have a director session before booking it. And I told Stephen, I was like, I just have to tell you that Perks of Being a Wallflower is my favorite book. And I don't know if I'm going to see you after this audition. So I just need to tell you that. And thankfully I did, because we became good friends and he's very dear to me. But Wonder was such a special experience. It was what I like telling, actually, not to go on a tangent, but what I think was super interesting too is that I had never heard of the play Our Town before freshman year, where a friend of mine was performing in the play at the school that I was going to. So I went to go see her in Our Town, and then a week later I got an audition for Wonder, where I had to do the monologue as Emily from Our Town. So that was also something that I thought was fun and coincidental.
This is very inspiring, and I assume that Izabela Vidovic, through these various experiences, it helped you and gave you a lot of ideas for your upcoming productions.
Yeah, of course. I think that every project that I get to work on, whether I'm acting or I'm producing or both, gives me, I would say that every project gives me lessons for the next one. So whether that be that I made a lot of mistakes or that I just did something different, there's always takeaways from everything that I do. And I think on Wonder, my biggest takeaway was just really, I think it was the first time that because I was approaching the age of 16 and I felt a little bit older, and it was the first time that I had a role where I felt like I was really mature. And I think that doing that and having the relationship that I did with Stephen on set gave me the confidence on future projects to kind of cultivate that deep relationship with my director, and not be afraid to approach material from, that mature type of mindset that I felt like I was developing on the set.
And to give and have this very powerful relationship with others and directors, I think that the most important thing is to have a strong relationship with yourself. This is maybe why you are now focusing more than ever on singing, because you can deliver very personal and intimate messages.
Yeah, thank you. I do really it's scary to put music out just because that's stuff that I'm writing from my own brain. Whereas when I'm acting, I am, not that I'm performing, it's still a part of myself, but it feels sometimes more, it feels vulnerable in a different way. I don't want to say that it doesn't feel vulnerable. It's just, that when I'm acting, I do feel like I have a face on. I'm playing a character. It's a lot less scary for me than when I'm putting music out, stuff that I've written, stuff that feels very personal to me. So maybe that's why it's taken me a while to start putting it out. But now that I am just excited.
And you are oftenly working, as I mentioned, with your family. So with your mother and other members of your close cycle. How often are you watching movies together?
Oh, we watch movies all the time. My mom and I watch movies all the time. We try to watch movies on a regular basis, just to be kind of on the up and up. So yeah, you can ask all my friends. I watch movies regularly.
I'm wondering, what are your favorite title and movies of this year, even though they have not been released this year?
I'm trying to think of this year. What has come out? Because it's still April. And I'm like, what came out in 2021 and what came out in 2022? I haven't seen Batman yet. I've really wanted to see that. But that's not something I've seen. Let me think. Well, Coda's beautiful. Coda just won Best Picture. So Coda was a beautiful film. Loved that. I'm trying to think. Oof. I feel like I need to look this up or something. I've been watching, I've been watching shows recently. I watched all of like Mike Flanagan's, Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, and then the most recent Midnight Mass. But that's not a movie. And I feel like I'm blanking out on films that came out.
And Izabela Vidovic, when you are building a song, there is oftenly a structure that can be used, for example, using an intro, a verse, a chorus. This is a little bit like writing a script.
It is, I think, yeah, it is in the sense that like I think it's just a short form of it, essentially, like with what you're saying. I'm more intimidated writing screenplays than I am writing songs because there's more involved. But, and I would say that the approach is a little different in the sense that with screenplays, there's many more elements. You know, there's characters and action and dialogue and all this. Whereas with the song, I can start with an idea, with a feeling, with a melody, and kind of build from there. But I mean, both do start with an idea. Just, I guess, with like anything that you write.
And Izabela Vidovic, one aspect of the Accursed that I feel you really pushed into a very advanced stage is the costume and the clothes that you are wearing. And it also applies to the entire cast.
Thank you. Yeah, the costume design was really important for the directors, and I love that. I love when directors emphasize costume because as an actor, it helps so much feeling the role with what you're wearing, with how you look like. Yeah, the wardrobe was, our costume designer was Jenna Smolina, and she was big on colors. So you'll notice like, you know, the colors that everybody's wearing. Sunny's in pink, which is sort of innocent, and Hannah's in red, which is strength and power. And, you know, yeah, and I think that all of the wardrobe also does kind of represent like old world Eastern European folklore and culture, especially with the wedding scenes. You can really see it. So we had a lot of fun with that.
Absolutely. And I also assume that one of the next chapter of A&P is maybe also to produce your upcoming and future video clips.
Our upcoming, which video clips?
Of your upcoming album, of course.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, I already know that whenever I do decide to do a music video, that it's going to be an Almost Normal affair, for sure. I don't even know if there's anything that the three of us can do creatively without running it by the other, at least. And if not, getting one of us involved. So you can definitely count on it being almost normal.
Almost normal. And to come back to my very first introduction, if you want to put more than 6 tracks in this album, you will need to fill your phone with more fortune cookies papers.
That's true. You know what? I don't even really like the number 6. Like, now that you've said that 6 is recurring, I'm going to have to change that. I'm going to go ahead and get some Chinese food tonight. Hopefully there's going to be a fortune cookie. I'm going to get another paper, add it to my collection, and make it 7 because that is my favorite number, not 6.
But how selective are you concerning those papers? Because let's imagine that there is a quote that doesn't rely very much to you. Do you still put it in?
That's so funny. I love that this is a topic. Now I can never change my phone case. Now that this has become a thing, I will never change my case, which is, by the way, just a clear case. Like, it doesn't come with the fortunes. You have to collect them, for anybody wondering. But I have definitely discarded fortunes before, or like taken my friends. Like, I've been at a restaurant before and gotten a fortune that I didn't like and then requested my friends to give me theirs so that I could put it in. So I am picky. Because sometimes fortunes are just lazy. You know, sometimes they're not even fortunes. And that doesn't deserve space on my phone because it's very limited, you know?
Absolutely. This phone case only deserves the best. And I would love Izabela Vidovic to make a connection with the contents of some of these quotes, because they can sometimes bring you luck, because you have a very unique and special trajectory, and this is part of history now, as you just mentioned. Did you always had this type of confidence? For example, back in 2006 or even before, when you had that Easter egg party?
Oh, thank you for saying that I have confidence. I like that. I think I was definitely more confident as a kid, because the older you get, I feel like you build walls and just stuff piles on, and then you start to go inward more. So I think as a kid, I was more fearless, and my mom, who is also my acting coach, often brings me back to little Bella, and she's like, remember that little Bella that would just do whatever, even if she looked silly, like, do that. So, yeah, I think that I have a lot to learn from like my younger self, because I just didn't have fear. You know, I didn't have fear of being judged or fear of looking silly or being a certain way, which is like the worst thing for an artist, is to have fear, because it inhibits your growth. I mean, the worst thing for anybody, really, I would say, is fear. So thank you for saying I have confidence. And I do have to remind myself often that when I was 7 years old, I did stand up on a table and sing in front of strangers. And I should do that more.
Singing on the table and being unstoppable, because I believe that by slowly, for example, becoming adults, we can sometimes lose that innocent and
definitely
a little bit crazy part of ourselves.
I know, and it's such a bummer. Like, why do we do that? We're the ones who do that to ourselves. We like, well, no, I mean, we don't do it to ourselves. Like, you know, life kind of happens in society and all kinds of things. But yeah, I think it's like one of the best pieces of advice I've ever been given, which is just to be in touch with your inner child, because there's so much beauty in that innocence, that like untouched innocence.
And Izabela Vidovic, one sentence from you that I really like is the motto of ANP, which is for ladies and women to channel their inner badass with a small butterfly. The butterfly is an emoji, by the way. It's not in the sentence.
Yeah, no, I mean, the AMP motto, we make films for women to channel their inner badass, I think just really sums us up as a company. I think that our scripts, our projects, they really kind of range from genre to genre. We're not really specific in any, we're not just horror filmmakers, we're not just comedy filmmakers, you know, we kind of have it all. And I think what really ties our projects together is the fact that at the center of every story is a badass woman who is either lost a little bit of her spark and finding it in the movie, or she's starting that way and it's just growing. I think that that's what's really, really unique about us as a company, is that every one of our projects really does center around a really strong female character, which I, as an actress, absolutely love.
You just use this very special word of genres because I believe that your goal is also to destroy those walls behind genres, because through your career you have played in a various diversity of genres, for example, in Homefront, in Wonder, or now in the Accursed. And if I remember correctly, when you released the Accursed, you did, for example, multiple trailers. For example, a more horrific one and a more a one more related with the thriller style. So you are trying to break the genres.
Absolutely. I think that, you never have to be just one thing as an artist. And I think it's important to have, to have something that people can know you by, which we do. We make films for women to channel our inner badass, or their inner badass. But I don't think that it means that just because you make one horror film that you have to make horror films for the rest of your life, or because you make a drama that you're a drama filmmaker. And there are definitely filmmakers out there who have a genre, who have a style, and they stick to it. And I think that's great, but it's not the only way to be. And I really like that, because we've got 3 heads on our team, which means 3 different types of creativity and 3 brains bringing and contributing ideas all the time, which is, it's diverse. We all come from different backgrounds, and we all have different things to offer. And I think that definitely reflects in our work.
In definitive, the goal is to break the barrier and ride the red light. Izabela Vidovic, I'm wishing you the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. This has been wonderful.